Hey guys, so this week has been like massively anticipated because I know all the bands and cover band musicians and everybody are really anxious to hear what the comments were from the venue owners and concert promoters and agents as to what they had to say. This is in response to last week's video. If you didn't see last week's video, go back and check that. I know the videos are long, guys. I'm getting a lot of complaints about you guys. The videos are long. It's a lot of information. I'm going to really try to keep these down to like 10, 15 minutes now. So work with me. I just can't cover all the material, so we'll just unpack this. If you follow my shorts on YouTube here every day and the reels over on Facebook, Instagram, and even on the TikTok channel, I will continue to unveil some of this stuff moving forward in some of those shorter format settings. So we're going to start off with the venue owners and event promoters of what they had to say toward you guys. And remember, I just feel like I need to preempt this with this. I'm going to take like 30 seconds to try and say this. Some of the most, as a musician, I'm a drummer. I was a touring drummer. That's how I got into production work. I realized production work made a whole lot more money than playing in a band, and that's why I ended up in the production field. But I've been, 35 years in this, every bit of 32 years of that on a professional touring level, and have really given my life, to the music industry, this middle market music industry. And the times that I've had to work with the most blunt and we'll say hard to love kind of instructors musically or managers in the production thing or whatever has been the most challenging times of my life, but also the times of my life that I've grown the most. When someone kind of went into my world and challenged my accepted little box of mediocrity, then I was able to grow outside of that box and become a better musician, become a better production engineer, all that stuff. So remember that all the stuff that we're going to share in this video, and then in part 2, we're going to do agents. So part 1 is the club owners and the venue owners and concert promoters. Part 2 will be agents. This is meant to be constructive. This is just meant to put truth on the table. I'm a neutral guy. I'm between both sides because I work for bands and I work for agents and club owners and event promoters and festival promoters and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of a neutral guy here, and some say that's sort of, a strength because I see it from both sides of the stage. I've been on both sides of the stage. So let's dive into this. I reached out to, probably half a dozen or more bar owners and event promoters that are friends of mine. All this stuff is anonymous. That way it gave these guys the ability to speak freely and to really share what's really on their heart without filtering anything. So I'm withholding names, venue names, and show names purposely so that we can just get to brass tacks here. This event promoter said that it's kind of the same old with some of the older local bands doing zero promotion. And I will say every one of these comments that I got, and again, we're not going to go through all this tonight. We're going to get through as much of it as we can. I highlighted the big points that we need to talk about in this long form, format. But that is something I got from everybody. Bands have got to do a better job of promoting the events. Some of the younger bands seem to do better because they're a little more Facebook, social media savvy. Some of the older bands are still kind of like in the 20th century, fighting 21st century technology. Man, all I can say is hire somebody to do it for you, or, don't complain about, making minimal pay because, unless you're working the online resources, I said all this in last week's video, man. Go back and check it out. Unless you're using those resources to your benefit, you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot, specifically in today's culture of live events. This guy also said they want to stroll in and play the same set list they've been playing for 10 years with no life, zero life, no energy, and then the crowd is a direct reflection as to what you do on stage. So it's very important that you sell it, man, sell it. They just expect you to book them since they've been around so long. Being a band that's been able to keep, 5 band members together for 10 years does not mean you should be making $3,000 or $4,000 a night. You could be the best band musically in the world, but if you're not putting butts in seats, you're only worth your salt, man. You know, and if you're not bringing any salt to the table, I hate to bust your bubble, that's what kind it is. But this guy even went further to say that when you don't book them back after they've done no promotion or they've had little to no draw repetitively, then they take it personal and act like you kind of murdered their family or something. Like this is absolutely crazy. He says that some of these guys are absolutely relentless. They're talking smack about them on social media, all that kind of stuff. Look, if you're talking smack about anybody you're working for on social media, you probably shouldn't be in this business, because that's like rule number one, man. You don't go online and share your personal junk, much less all this other business stuff, and especially if you start mentioning names and calling people out. It's not cool, dude. It's just not cool. Some bands get completely drunk and other things while on camera in the club. I used to work at a club where we didn't allow drinking on stage, and some of the bands just would throw conniption fits over that. And this is why. Because some of you guys are just adult adolescents and you don't know how to act when you get a few beers in you. And you're representing the club. You're working for the club when you're on stage. You're representing your agency that you're working for when you're on stage. And you're going to get up there and act like a fool and be all sloppy drunk and, saying a bunch of stuff you probably shouldn't say on the stage because you've lost your ability to be, tactful and that sort of thing. Come on, dude. Come on, man. We got to get that together. And then, here is a big one that I've heard through most of these comments is treating the staff like crap is the club owner, venue owner, concert promoter's biggest pet peeve. If you can't treat these guys decent, man, you want them to treat you like rock stars, because believe me, I've seen it with my own eyes. Some of y'all come strolling in there with a chip on your shoulder and an ego that could barely fit through the front door, and it's a double door. And then you want to go in there and treat some single mom as, waitressing on the weekends. It's probably her second or third job trying to make ends meet. You gonna treat her like trash? Come on, dude. We can't have that, man. You guys need to be acting like professionals. I posted today in the shorts and in my reels about what it is to be a professional. Maybe you should go back and, review that. Some bands, this guy says some bands are booking with new out-of-town agents from big cities, and they expect their community to be reflective of what the market is in the big cities, like in New Jersey or Philadelphia or something like that. And if the club's not in the big city or they're not in a bigger metropolitan area, look, man, the numbers are going to look different. They just really are. The next guy here is like, thank you. Thank you. We're grateful that you've come, and we're glad to have you. That was really refreshing to hear from a venue promoter. Please share any professional images of the band so we can use on social media for promotions. Some of these clubs are really trying to get it right, and you bands are dragging your ass. You guys are the ones that are like not providing all the materials that the club needs to be able to do the online stuff that we preach about so much. So let's make sure we get that to them. This guy has multiple venues, and he's talking about space. Some of his venues are kind of small. And, to kind of just respect the boundaries that the club has put in place for your band to play in. Listen, man, if you go to a club and there's not enough room for your band, then, make the best of it that night and never go back. Okay, no harm, no foul. You made the best of it. You got through the night. Everybody made money. It's all good. But if you're a 3 or 4 piece band and, you got a big chip on your shoulder because the venue owner's trying to shove you in a corner over here, look, be grateful that they're even offering live entertainment, because those places are getting harder and harder to find. Much of those little places are going strictly to acoustic and duos and cutting out all, the electric band, kind of stuff altogether. So then we lose another live music venue, for full bands. So please respect the boundaries that they put in place, even if it seems like it's, not really the craziest, coolest thing in the world. Try to respect the boundaries here. It's their club, You're working for them. We're going to talk more about that in the agents video, so make sure you stick around for that. Another guy here saying it helps when the band promotes their shows. This guy says we regularly make up flyers in-house You know, so they need really good images of the band, all your promo materials and stuff like that. But it's always better when the band is promoting it from their end too. They're 100% wanting to be attached to any events that the band creates that they can co-host, so it shows up on all their social media stuff too. See, so not everybody's bad here, guys. You know, I mean, last week we heard from the bands, and a lot of bands had a lot of these similar things to say toward the venue. Okay, and that may apply to some venues. But with the venues that are trying to get it right, for the love of God, give these people what they need so they can do it right. Why is that so hard? Why do you fight that so much? I can't tell you how many times I've asked these so-called bands that have 30 years of experience for a stage plot, and they get mad at me. Literally mad at me because I press them for a stage plot and an input list. And I'm like, dude, you've been in this business for 30 years. You don't know what a stage plot or input list is? I mean, really? Come on, guys. You're not a professional. You're a novice if that's the case. I don't care how long you've been playing or how good you are on your instrument. You're a novice. There's more to being a professional in this business than how well you can play your instrument or how much money you've made in the past or currently making. Because a professional understands his environment, treats his environment like a workplace, because it is. This guy's signing your check at the end of the night. Or your agent is sending you the check at the end of the month. You're representing them. And then you wonder why these guys all have their favorite bands. I can't tell you how many times I've heard that conversation where it's like, oh, well, I don't like working with that venue because they only book this 6 bands all the time. That's their favorite bands. Say the same thing toward agents. But yeah, they only book their favorite bands. Well, maybe you should be asking yourself how you can be one of their favorite bands. Maybe those bands are their favorite bands because they treat the staff right, because they do the promo, they actually put butts in seats, they put people in there, they're a joy to work with, and they're really good, musically. Man, that's the perfect storm for a band that's never going to fail. Let me say it again, that band is never going to fail because they have their priorities in line. When they show up, they're sober, they're vigilant about what they're doing, they're aware, they're present, their head isn't someplace else, tripping over stuff and getting hurt, because of their own stupidity, because their head is someplace else, and now they want to sue the club because they tripped over something that was clearly visible, marked or spiked or whatever. I mean, come on, guys, man. It's a two-way street here. And we've got good venue owners here, good concert promoters, festival promoters. I have their words right here in black and white, who are trying to get it right. But they can't do it alone. They've got to have you guys working with them. They've got to have you guys inquisitive. Go back and listen to last week's, video. Yes, it was 45 minutes long. But I'm telling you, if you follow these steps, your band will succeed. If you become a band that is a value to the area, you will succeed. I promise you. I hope this is falling on ears that are receptive and with hearts that are a foundation of growth, because that's what this takes. This is constructive criticism, not destructive. We're trying to build you up. We're trying to make you better at what you do. That was the whole purpose for this video series for me. I'm just a middle guy. I'm just running a little, pro audio company, production company, staging company here out of West Virginia, which most people don't even know where I'm at. But this is what we're doing, man. We're trying to make things better. We're trying to resolve some of this unspoken stuff that has been happening in our scene. Specifically, our scene is the Mid-Atlantic. So in the Mid-Atlantic, the Philly, Baltimore, DC, Richmond, Virginia, those are the 4 cities that we're working here in the Mid-Atlantic, and we're trying to get it right, man. We're trying to come back to the table and make some sense out of this to where the bands are making better money, the clubs are making better money, the agents are healthy and honest and making better money, and we're all happy. Then it's a win-win situation. So don't run off, because we're going to release part 2 right after this video. So stick around.